Herbert West has a good head on his shoulders and another one in a dish on his desk. This movie will scare you to pieces. We watched Re-Animator, a movie that features more naked zombie dong than you can shake a stick at. We watch it so you don't have to, so you know what time it is.
Horror, so bad and scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad and scary. Enjoy the show, but not really.
Greetings, Moon Goons! Welcome to the next episode of Horrible Horror, the podcast where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. Horror movies so bad they're scary. I'm your host, Marshall Hampton. With me today, as always, is my co-host, Mr. Aaron Southworth.
Hey everybody, how's it going? We actually have a guest today.
We do. We have a guest today. We're gonna, I guess, bill him as our scientific,
Yes.
our science expert of the show.
Yes. So we have our science buddy, the only person who actually is a scientist, and that is his profession.
Yes.
So we have Mr. Aleksey Karpitskiy today.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
So he is here to join us on Re-Animator, this 80s cult classic that it's a wild ride. I'll say that. It is a wild ride.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I didn't know exactly what to expect because it's
Exactly the same here.
It is a cult classic. It is a movie that I've been wanting to see. I've been hounding Melissa, my wife, to watch it, and she's like, she's seen it like 3 or 4 times. She's like, oh, gosh, I'll watch it. She kept putting it off. And actually, in a weird way, I'm kind of glad I got put off to actually watch and experience it firsthand for the podcast.
Yeah, I had never seen this before either to this. I've heard about for years, but I just never got around to watching it myself.
Alex, have you seen it before?
No, but I'm really surprised you guys have never seen it.
I know.
I mean, it's like in the canon of like 80s horror.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's right in our wheelhouse. It's a cult classic, and it's just kind of like I'm surprised we haven't seen it.
Yeah,
Shame on us.
Shame on us.
Shame on us.
All right, before we dive into things too much, I do want to give another shout out to a listener of ours, John Kerr, who I mentioned before, but he sent us more emails, kind of bringing to light some things that we kind of missed out or overlooked during our Christmas episodes on Santa's Sleigh, the Bill Goldberg catastrophe of a movie.
Love that movie. You hated it. I
hated it. But yeah, he brought up some things about the cast that we missed. So good on him. So thanks, John, for that. Appreciate it. Keep listening. Got anything else? Feel free to send it in. All right, back to the movie. This was released October 18th of 1985. So right in the middle of the 80s. Great time. It was written by Dennis Paoli, William J. Norris, and Stuart Gordon, Stuart Gordon also directed this movie. It did spawn 2 sequels called Bride of Re-Animator, that was in 1989, and Beyond Re-Animator, which was shot and released in 2003. Wow. That is a long gap for these type of movies.
I didn't know that. I mean, I knew there were sequels, but I didn't know it was 2003.
Yeah, I thought the same. It's like, wow, that's a long
Going back to that well.
I mean, that's over 10 years since number 2. That's crazy. It's very, I'm going to say loosely, again, air quotes, based off of an H.P. Lovecraft short story by nearly, the short story is called Herbert West, the Re-Animator.
Right.
Speaking of which, Herbert West in this movie is played by Jeffrey Combs, who, from what I've seen, he probably has the most successful career I've ever been in this cast.
Does he?
Well, I look by
I haven't seen him in anything else.
Just sheer volume of work that he's done. He's had the most longevity, and a lot of it's been voiced over and stuff, but he's still doing stuff.
I gotta say, the guy when he speaks, you listen.
Yeah,
you know,
it was very engaging.
Yeah, he's got a very commanding presence when he's on there.
Yeah, and everybody else is kind of, I mean, yeah, the main character Dan Kane is played by Bruce Abbott, who didn't do much after the 80s. The girl Barbara Crampton, again, not much past the 80s.
She's been another Scream.
Yeah.
She's been another like horror.
Yeah, I'm
movie.
not saying she
like
hasn't done it. I'm just saying,
movies,
as far as longevity purposes,
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Jeffrey Combs is still the one who's got the most. And the only thing of note is David Gale, who plays Dr. Carl Hill. He actually died in 1991 at the age of 54. Like right after he did, I believe he was in the sequel too. And then Robert Sampson plays Dean Halsley. So other than that, that's really is.
Isn't
all you
it
need to know about
who played the dean?
The dean is Robert Sampson.
He looked really familiar.
He did have a familiar look to me as
right?
well.
Looked like a character actor I've seen elsewhere, but
I'm sure. I mean, they all had stuff they've done. I
Right,
didn't
right.
write them all down because nothing really stood out to
Right,
me
right,
for
right.
this movie.
No
Maybe-
X-Men? No X-Men
X-
stuff?
Yeah, shut up. I like it. So maybe, hey, John, if you miss it, if you want to check it out,
Yeah,
let us know. All right, so jumping into the movie. It opens at the University of Zurich in Sweden, where we see like some police and a guy in a suit and like a female doctor burst down this door, and they walk.
Yeah, they're screaming in
Yeah.
the halls. Yeah, it sounds crazy.
And we see Hert West, who is holding a syringe, and he's kneeling over the body of Dr. Gruber.
And this guy's squirming, and he looks like he's having a seizure.
Yeah, it really does. He's twitching, going everywhere. Side note, I'll cover this now, so I don't have to worry about it in odds and ends. The full name of Dr. Gruber, I said Gruber, is Hans.
Oh,
so where else do we know a
shit.
Hans Gruber, people?
Oh, yeah, and this is also topical because Alan Rickman just died
Yep.
recently.
Rest
so
in peace.
Yeah,
Alan
yeah.
Rickman.
So we have a nice Die Hard connection.
We do have
here.
a dire connection here.
Wow.
Yep.
I knew when I heard Gruber, I was like, oh, sweet.
Nope.
Like, and first thing I
First
thought
name
of was Hans Gruber.
It is. His name's in
Yeah.
the movie. He's Dr. Hans Gruber. So anyway, he's like Gruber's twitching, screaming. He's bleeding from the mouth, and he gets up.
Yeah.
And you see his face and his head like swelling and pulsating.
This was a pretty decent effect.
Yeah, for 85, yeah.
for sure.
I liked it because he gets up, he's kind of purple, his skin is flushed.
Yeah, it's like grayish and purple, and
it's pulsating.
Eyes bulging out.
Yeah, his eyes are bulging, they're about to pop. And
they
then
do. They pop.
and
they
then they
explode.
pop and just gets the fat doctor lady just gets it in the face.
Yeah, just facial blood right over, and Gruber then
She gets the
Gruber-
blood money shot in the
blood
face.
money shot. So Gruber then falls down dead again. Basically, West is accused of killing him, but he's like, "Hey, I didn't kill him, but I gave him life."
Dun, dun, dun.
Actually, great line. Let's
Yeah.
not gloss over that.
That is-
You
that's
killed
good.
him. No, I gave him life.
Roll credits.
Yeah, I mean that's
And right in the opening
phenomenal.
credits, which the opening credits remind me of like something you see at like a laser light show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool opening credits. Honestly,
They,
really creative.
It was,
I actually have some notes. Again, I'll get to those in the odds and ends, but there are some notes about the opening credits. But they do very, very like psychedelic laser light
yeah,
show.
it made me
feel.
think of Tool. Like Tool
Yeah,
albums.
yeah,
like the
for
inner,
sure,
the
yes.
inner works of like, like a Tool, like the album art. That's what it made me think of.
Yeah, it's like old school anatomy illustrations
Yeah.
through the prism of a Tool video.
So after credits, we jump to Miskatonic Medical School in Arkham, Massachusetts.
Arkham.
Arkham.
Come on, little Batman reference there too. So
Well, no,
right
but-
off the bat, we got Die Hard and Batman.
Not sort
Wait a
of, but
minute.
actually, the H.P. Lovecraft stories. Several of his stories took place in a town called Arkham. So that's
well,
all
that's where they
from-
keep the crazy ass Joker too.
yeah, that is true. Arkham Asylum. Anyway, so we're introduced to our main character, Dan Kane. He's a medical student, and we first see him. He's doing compressions on a dead fat woman, and he's trying to save her. And she's naked, and this goes on for a while.
So we see our first boobs, really fat
Yeah.
boobies.
fat,
But
saggy
hey,
boobies.
that's real life.
That's
man.
reality.
It is real life, yeah, that's what it is.
I'll tell you what's not reality: the speed of those compressions. Good God.
Yeah, we have a scientist expert,
Yeah.
and we have our medical expert here for this.
Yeah,
Um,
it was silly.
Anyway, they go on for a while, these compressions, and they even try the paddles, the defibrillators.
Defibrillator.
Nothing works.
Old
She
school
dies.
defibrillator, putting on the gel.
Yeah.
There. Yeah.
And Kane, of course, he doesn't want to stop because he's the good guy. He's like the Noah Wiley of ER. He's
Yeah.
he kind of reminds me of Noah Wiley.
We can
actually.
save her. We can save her.
I'm
They're
not
like,
gonna stop.
they said,
You're
call
not
it.
dying on my watch.
Yeah, yeah. So he's really into trying to save people, which
Yeah.
comes into later.
Eventually, he's like, she's done. Take her down to the morgue. So he wheels her down to the morgue, and the morgue is guarded by a security guard, which I thought was a little weird, but.
Well, he's useless anyway.
He is.
down the
He's-
line,
Well, I have a lot to say about him later.
Probably the most
Yeah.
useless security
Security
guard
guard
ever.
ever. Yes.
He's great though.
I do love him too.
Loves his porno and his breaks.
he does.
and his meatball sandwiches. Yeah.
So in the morgue, there's two doctors working over a dead guy that looks like the guy on the table looks like a caveman mannequin you would see in like a history museum,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like old Geico commercials.
Really Cro-Mag, yeah.
He's very chromatic. And so Kane drops off the woman's body in this giant walk-in freezer that's filled with bodies that look like they're in black hefty bags.
Now I've been in morgues before. That's a big ass morgue. I gotta tell you, that's a big ass freezer. They're
It's
usually
huge.
they're a lot tighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's pretty funny too? Just side note, They put dead babies in paper bags.
Oh.
Yeah. A buddy of mine told me a story about how he was trying to make room in the morgue to put in a dead body, and he was clearing off one of the. He's like, why is he really literally thought it was just a bag of something on there. He was moving it to move a stretcher. He grabbed it and tossed it. And when and as soon as it left his hand, he was just like, no, I'm throwing a dead baby through the air. Side note, okay.
Oh shit. So anyway, Kane leaves the freezer, but the way he reacts when he closes the door behind him, to me, is not a very good sign for a future doctor.
No, he was
he's like sweating
Wrote it
and
out.
like hyperventilating. He's like, oh god, dead bodies. Oh, he's freaking out. I'm like,
Right.
dude, you're gonna be a doctor.
Right,
You
right.
should
Yeah,
be.
I noticed that too.
And he's like third year medical student. This isn't like
Right.
day one. He's third year.
Exactly. It's like, come on.
So again, that's just first sign that Kane is kind of a pussy throughout this whole movie.
Well, maybe that's where his fear of, kind of the thing of trying to resurrect people and his fear of death is kind of combined. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're going a little bit too far there.
No, all right. I'm just trying to psychoanalyze.
All right.
So Kane watches one of the other two men, which turns to be Dr. Hill. He's using like this laser drill to zap a hole in this cadaver's head, and he swabs out this long Q-tip. And in comes Dean Halsey, and he introduces Kane to Hert West, saying that West will be joining him in his third year of medical school. And basically, West just starts insulting Hill's theory and calls him outdated and basically a hack.
Right-
Just right off the bat.
Right off the bat, he's shitting on Hill.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like some upstart physiologist or something or physics as was like going up and like, Stephen Hawking, you're a hack or something like that.
Yeah.
You.
And it's just a side note also. Hill, does anybody else think he looks kind of like John Kerry?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, he's got that
Mhm.
long face, the hair.
Or Eddie the Eagle, either one.
I didn't think he
really.
looked like John Kerry.
I thought he had a John Kerry look.
I say Hill, maybe Dr.
That's
Hill.
what I was
is more-
talking about.
You said
Yeah.
West, I thought.
Hill.
I think
Dr.
he said
Hill.
West Hill. Nah, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, Hill,
Whatever.
yes,
Hill, yes.
Hill
Dr.
totally,
Hill,
not West. So anyway, it cuts to Kane posting a flyer for a new roommate on a bulletin board, and we get introduced to his girlfriend Megan Halsey, which is the dean's daughter. They start kissing, and a fast hard cut to just boom, them just going at it, having sex in bed.
Yeah.
We see their boobs.
Take a trip to Bone Town.
Yep, and I just want to take notice. Everybody else knows, like, of course, the Talking Heads poster above the bed.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I
I think it
didn't.
was Stop Making Sense.
Stop Making
Yeah,
Sense.
it was.
Yep.
Man,
Which is a nice little tie-in for what happens
Yeah,
later in the
yeah.
movie.
Oh, that's clever. Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. I get it.
I get it.
so as Megan leaves, they find West at their front door, and he's responding to the roommate ad. And after a very quick tour, West basically just pulls out this wallet and catches, "Here, I'm your roommate now."
Yeah, I mean he's very upfront. The gal Megan is a little creeped out by it, but
Yeah.
he just cuts right to the chase and is like, it has a big basement that he can make a laboratory in. He's sold.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like this movie is just a giant PSA for proper roommate vetting, and just do a basic background check.
Just know a little bit about him before, But hey, man, money talks. Money talks.
No, it was the 80s. It was a different time.
It was a different time.
We use that quite a bit.
In the last 3 weeks, it's the 80s.
Last couple, everyone's
the
like,
80s.
it's the 80s.
So we cut to Dr. Hill's class being held in the morgue, and this is actually a pretty gross scene of him like removing the scalp and the face off the top of a cadaver's skull in order to reach and remove the brain. And he compares it to peeling a large orange. That's how he but it's again, the effects on this are pretty
damn good.
really good. Like
Yeah.
I've seen far worse and better quality movies. And it's kind of just is like, oh god, it's kind of gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, the brain didn't look that great. I
No,
No, the brain didn't
but
look
the
great,
actual
but the process.
the process is pretty good though.
Yeah, I agree. The brain looked, but everything else.
Yeah.
Even and then, especially when after he moves the brain, just have like the hollowed out
Yeah.
Right,
skull, which is
yeah.
all
That was
bloody,
good.
and you see like a hole in the bottom of the skull. It's a good effect. So yeah. Again, Wes starts just being like a complete douche, like dick. He starts snapping pencils.
Yeah,
Like,
what the hell was
interrupt-
that? That was so bizarre.
He's like calling like again. He's just snap a pencil every time Hill will like say something he didn't agree
Yeah,
with.
he's trying
like,
to
snap.
lecture with him, and then he just, I couldn't tell if he was just so upset, like the tension was breaking the pencil, but it looked like he's just like
he's just being a dick.
just
He's just being
breaking it to be a dick.
He's just trying to be a dick to Hill. And so after he breaks some more pencils, and after class, Hill's like, he gets like, class dismissed.
Yeah, he calls him
And-
a fraud. What?
And then
yeah.
West snaps. Yeah, he's like, he's calling him a hack. Like, how dare you teach these people are here to learn? How dare you deny them a proper education because of your stupid ways and all this
Right.
stuff? And then Hill's like, I'm going to take great pleasure in flunking you or something like
Right. That's not.
Well, yeah. Also, let's not forget. I guess Hill's maxim of 6 to 12 seconds.
6 to 12 minutes.
Minutes.
Oh, minutes.
Yeah, 6
right.
12 minutes
12
after
minutes,
death.
yeah.
Total
That's a
brain.
good point. Yeah, because they do bring that up quite a bit.
Because that's kind of like I felt like a flag.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like, it was like 6 12 minutes after death, like permanent brain death or something like
Right.
that.
So
basically.
after what was it? After the heart stops, there's 6 to 12 minutes.
Yeah,
of
there's still 6 to 12
creativity.
minutes
Is that-
of. It's basically a window to like to save the brain.
Right,
or
right.
resuscitate. Yeah. After 6 to 12 minutes, it's total brain.
And
death.
then Wes, I think Wes is saying you're wrong on that. It's,
Oh, yeah.
I've broken the 12 minute
Yeah.
barrier or something like that. So at the dean's house, the dean, his daughter Megan are having dinner with Dr. Hill, and they're talking about this new large grant they just received, and blah blah blah. And Kane shows up to pick up Megan for a study date, and you can kind of tell Hill is like a little iffy. He's like, "Well, why don't you just study here?" He doesn't really want her to go.
yeah.
You start seeing a little creepiness with Hill towards Megan. In the
Yeah,
scene.
he's
He's an old pervy
a
man.
little leering, a
Yeah,
little long. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. What was his toast? Like a toast to
I think
like
his
her
toast was-
name and like
and
to
to
everyone you like seduce or something.
Yeah.
Something incredibly
Everyone you
creepy.
seduce.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah,
was
it's-
really
it's really-
like
it's
Kind of creepy.
what?
Yeah.
So back at Kane's house, Megan basically starts unloading on Kane about how uncomfortable she is with West, and then they start noticing their cat is not around, and they
Yeah.
start going looking for the cat.
Cat's name is Rufus.
Rufus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bold name for a cat.
know,
Usually a
it's
dog name, right?
Or like a homeless guy.
Oh yeah.
Or George Carlin from the future and
Oh
Bill and
yeah,
Ted.
Rufus.
So Megan starts sneaking around. She goes into West's room, which is apparently a big no-no because West is all about his privacy, and she finds the cat dead in a mini fridge in his room,
Right.
along with this bottle of like glowing neon green liquid.
Yeah.
And I don't know where West just pops up and he's angry. He's like, "Why are you in my room? Like, get out!" He's like, the cat was dead when I found it.
Right. She's screaming. And
Yeah.
it's kind of chaos. Yeah.
But he does like a good job of like explaining away the cat's death.
And it kind of comes back to like when this guy talks, you listen.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
really
He's,
commands.
he does.
yeah.
Jeffrey Combs does a really good job in this movie.
Yeah, what was the line? It was like, what are we gonna do? Call you and say, hey, cat's dead. Details later.
Yeah. leave you a no, cat dead, talk to you later. Yeah, exactly.
Like, details later.
Details
That cracked me
later.
up.
Yeah. And like, what, you just want me to leave around? It's going to smell. Nobody wants that. So I put it in the
So
fridge.
he puts a good argument. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he makes it really good. Like, all right.
But you know that guy totally killed that
Oh,
cat.
you totally know, but like, he does.
Hey, we don't know that for a fact.
You don't. But I'm thinking he killed that cat.
I think
50.
everybody's thinking they killed the cat.
All right.
So then Kane asks him about the glowing bottle of neon liquid in the room. He's like, "That's none of your business." Just like it's none of his business that Kane is sleeping with the dean's daughter. So he's kind of like giving a little blackmail-y
Yeah.
sense here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You ignore that, and I won't tell anybody you're banging the dean's
Right.
daughter. So later that night, Kane is sleeping. He's startled awake by some loud, horrendous fucking noises.
Screeching.
I mean,
and,
it's like
yeah.
not human. It's not natural sounds. And he follows these noises down to the basement, and he finds Herbert being attacked by the newly undead cat.
We talked about the good effects in this movie.
Yeah,
and then
that
there's
was,
this.
Then there's this.
Which is basically
Yeah.
just Jeffrey Combs having like a stuffed toy cat like strapped, or is the 80s so maybe Velcroed to his
Right,
neck.
right. And he's,
And
get
he's just,
it off me, get it off me.
Get out of here, get it off.
And the cat rah, 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 making these crazy noises.
Yeah.
And he's basically fighting a stuffed animal.
Exactly. So Wes is yelling to Kane. And when he gives him the kind of he's like, get out. But he's like, no, get it off. He's
Yeah.
just like, pick one. But the two of them eventually manage to kill the cat a second time.
Well, I love it because this is weird. This is hilarious because they knock the cat off of West. They're looking for it. The cat's running around. They got like shovels or sticks, or like one's got a baseball bat, and one's got something else, and they're poking around
Yeah.
trying to find it. The cat jumps out and hits Dan and knocks him across the fucking room. So this is a 12-pound cat, shoots out like a goddamn cannon. And Dan's a pretty big guy, and he hits him, and he goes flying across the goddamn room. It was a little hokey. It was a little hokey. But then he picks up the cat and just goes, God damn it, throws it against the wall. Then he just goes, it just splats.
Yeah, when do you recognize That's his cat?
Right.
Why would he be so callous
I know.
and assuming that...
I know. It's like, come on. There's no compassion for this animal whatsoever.
No, not at all. Just
The only one who likes it, I think, is Megan.
That's right. She loved Rufus.
Yeah.
So after this all happens, West goes into like explaining his discovery / invention, and Kane's like, I don't believe you. So to prove it, he injects the dead pet cat again with the green glowing liquid.
Don't expect to do the tango. He's got a broken back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was a
West
good line.
tells Kane that then West is like, you are gonna help me with these experiments. You're gonna help me now. And Kane's like, no. But he quickly bitches out because West just says, yes, you are. And he's like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, all right. That's a good argument.
He's quite a pushover.
Yeah. So again, the cat comes back to life, but this time when Megan walks in and she freaks out as the cat going.
Yeah, the cat's all broke, and this is such a shit effect.
It is. It's
I
a
mean,
bad
the
puppet.
cat looks horrible.
Yeah.
It so looks like a stuffed animal. So.
And like, it's like mutant, moving, twitching
It's
around, and it's hissing
yeah.
and trying to move off the table. And they kill it a third time. And now we jump to Kane in Dean's office trying to explain what West has accomplished. He's like, you know, this is a miracle. You've done it.
Well, he's telling him, but he's also concerned. You know, he's like he's broken. He's broken the laws of
Nature, basically.
Nature, saying that he's solved brain death. It's gone beyond. He's broken the 6 to 12 minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
That's what something Alexi was saying earlier. But yeah, it's and then all of a sudden, I guess the beans spill that he's dating his daughter, or he mentions Megan, and then
Yeah.
Dean flips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he just starts. He's like, well, you know, if I find out any equipment from the hospital is used, you're going to jail. You know, if I found anything from the school is used, you're going to jail.
Yeah, he basically reprimands Kane and says that criminal charges might be filed, and then he just West is expelled.
Yeah,
Just boom, he's
he
done.
says Wes expelled, and he didn't expel Dan,
Kane,
but he said you were stripped of your scholarship, and he's like, I can't pay for school. So effectively, he stripped him of he basically expelled him as well.
Right. So this
Like it was a way overreaction.
Yeah.
Way over, big time.
So we jump to Kane pushing a body again into the morgue. The security guard lets him in and then goes off for coffee break.
Yeah, I love the security guard.
Oh God, I have more of him later, but God, he's so useless. Once inside, it turns out that it's Wes underneath the sheet and not on the gurney, not a corpse. And he hops up and they start as they get in the freezer, the walking.
Yeah.
They're going from body to body looking for just the right corpse. Kind of like Goldilocks. Nope, this one's not right. No, this one's just right.
This one died of electrocution. This one died of malpractice. This one died of gunshot wound.
malpractice. How generic? Malpractice. It could be anything.
I know. It was kind of funny because he even Wes Snicker goes malpractice. So maybe even he was reacting. He's like, "What a bullshit reason." But they find a young man who died suddenly of heart
I think
failure.
it's heart failure. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a big guy. He's
a big dude,
big guy. And they find one. They inject it with the green liquid, like at the base of the skull. And here, West is all busy. Like, no, we're gonna do this. Get this. Get the recorder on. Kane's like being a little bitch again. He's like,
I don't know.
Anyway, we got you out. He's like, shut the fuck up. We're doing this. He's like, okay.
Wes has got the balls.
He
man.
does. Kane is a bitch. I can't say that enough.
Yeah.
Dean Halsey and Megan then are now seen entering the hospital, and I forget why, but they got some kind of alert that something's going on. And Dean,
it was the dean comes in saying,
but they said you gotta go check this out, and he's like, Megan, you stay here. I don't care what.
I think he was looking for.
Yeah, he was looking for Kane because he said,
I don't remember why.
Because he said, "Has Kane been in here?" And
he's not allowed back here.
The doctor said, "Yeah, he's been here." He's like, "I specifically told Hill not to let him in." The doctor goes, "Hill's been in emergency surgery for the last 4 hours."
That's what it is.
And so he's like, "Damn it!" Oh, so he's storming off to go find. Dan.
Thank you. That's it.
Yeah.
So he leaves Megan at the front desk, and he goes after Kane and West.
What is? If I was that lady doctor, and he's like, "You make sure she stays right here," I'd be like, "Fuck you! I'm a fucking doctor. I got way more important things to do than babysit."
I thought she was like the front desk receptionist.
She was a doctor earlier in the earlier.
Yeah, she was the one running the code when Dan was.
The one with the glasses.
Yeah,
It was her.
Severe face.
I didn't. Yeah. Okay, she's a doctor.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah. So back in the morgue, West injects the body a second time after there was no effect from the first injection.
So he's really pumped him full of
this miracle liquid.
Yeah, it's called reagent
Yeah,
or
yeah,
serum.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
just
Real
qualify
detailed.
that.
Scientist, what do we call it?
Reagent/serum.
We'll call it reagent serum.
Reagent serum.
And again, Kane's like, I want out. We gotta get out. We're gonna get caught. He's being a bitch. And then suddenly the body springs to life, and the zombie.
It's basically a zombie.
Just goes
Yeah.
ape shit.
He's just-
He's tossing burnt bodies and gurneys all over the walk-in.
He's throwing shit all
And
over.
His face is swollen and it's all veiny, and there's blood coming out of his mouth.
Kind of like Dr. Gruber at the beginning. Yeah.
Exactly like Gruber. This point, the dean enters the morgue, and he hears all the commotion coming from the walk-in. And he goes to the door, and he's trying to, like, open it, but it's
The
locked.
dean's pressed against the door listening.
Yeah, he's like, let me in. And Kane's like, it's locked or something like that. Or get away. And the buff zombie is like, tosses tosses Kane aside and just smashes the metal walk-in freezer door off its hinges.
Yeah.
Crushing the dean,
Right.
Halsey, underneath it. And then for good measure,
He jumps on it.
on top of the door.
Yeah, it was like a squishing sound effect. I remember. It was like,
smashes it
Yeah.
down and then goes,
So the naked buff zombie picks up Dean. And keep in mind, you can see so much dong in this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
You see ass
Yeah,
and
good
dong,
amount of dong,
everywhere.
yeah.
a
Good
lot of
stuff.
flopping dong.
A lot of fun. And so the naked zombie picks up Dean, bites off a few of his
Yeah,
fingers.
so the
Yeah, that
dean's
was
all
good.
fucked up, and the dean's like trying to push him away. He has his. I'm like, why are you putting? He basically put his
Yeah,
fingers
he
in his
really
mouth.
I was like,
did.
here you go.
Yeah,
Dean.
you want something to nibble on?
Here you go.
I got some Vienna sausage fingers here for you. Sticks his fingers in his mouth, and the zombie just rips him off. It's good effect. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
really
that was good
cool.
effect.
Yeah.
But then it's a horrible effect because he picks him up in the most awkward way
Yeah.
possible and throws him. It's like a reverse Razor's Edge from Razor Ramon's old face.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of on his back, he's like in front of him. It's really awkward looking.
Yeah, you can tell there's some wires involved. There,
Yeah.
so.
So Kane and Wes are trying to get the zombie off of the dean, but they have no luck as the zombie just continues to throttle Dean Halsey.
Just beating the shit out of him.
Wes,
The Dean's had it. You know.
yeah. Wes finally gets it. He goes and gets a bone saw and then turns on and drives it through the chest cavity, killing the zombie.
Coming out the front,
Right.
which
Yeah.
is pretty
Again,
cool.
again,
Good effect.
cool effect.
Again, yeah.
Yeah, it starts
And
in the back
Wes was just like so pimp when he did this.
Yeah.
Also,
He just
Yeah,
just
go
looks at Dan. Dan's freaking out. Oh God, what are we gonna do? And he just grabs a bone. So he's like, "Step aside, Dan."
Yep.
just
Turns
comes
on.
up, and he's just so calm and cool. Just shoves it through his back. And it was cool.
Okay, can a bone saw actually do that? Because it's a reciprocal like blade this way, right?
It vibrates so quick. You know,
Oh,
it's such a
okay.
but the way he was holding it, it wouldn't
No,
work that way. You'd have to hold it this way, and it wouldn't go through the back.
That's
So
all right. It's the
What-
80s.
You're catching on, Alex.
You're
You're catching on.
So after the fight, Wes wants to inject the Dean now, since his body is so fresh, it should work better. And of course, Kane's like, no, but he's like, all right, fine, we'll do it.
Well, yeah, because Wes again busts his balls. He's like, "What other shot we got?"
Yeah.
You know, it makes sense. He's like, "I have, this is the freshest we're ever gonna do. Don't you want him to live?"
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense now.
All right. Quick note before he injects. Did anybody hear the weird like big ups to plastic?
Yeah, that was weird.
That he
yeah,
said.
that was really strange.
That
So
was
the bottle
Yeah, like-
of reagent
Yeah.
was in like hard, unbreakable plastic
Yeah.
bottle. And he's like, oh, thank God for unbreakable plastic.
Yeah.
and that was great. I'm like, oh, what a weird.
One of man's
awesome-
greatest inventions.
Yeah,
There's-
I know.
Plastic.
And like he's right. Thank God for plastic.
It was really funny.
It's not like plastic. It's not like plastic was a new invention at the
It-
time at
it's
all.
almost like a PSA for plastic.
I know.
I just wanted to
forgot
imitate him like
about that,
holding the bottle like a pure fruit
Yeah.
bottle.
Yeah, it's
Like,
like thank God for
plastic.
plastic. When he needed the most.
When you need to reanimate your dead
Yeah.
girlfriend, your girlfriend's dead dad.
Trust only the best. Hard plastic. So, as soon as the dean comes back, they inject him. Megan walks into the morgue, and the dean springs back to life, bleeding from the mouth, attacks Kane and West.
Double chokehold.
Double
Oh,
chokehold.
yeah.
He's
Double
holding them
chokehold.
both
That
up
was
off the
good.
ground with double chokehold.
Yeah, Megan walks in, followed by the useless security guard.
What?
West just basically tells everyone that Dean snapped, that he just went crazy.
Right.
And They're like, okay. And then, again, bitch Kane, he curls up in the fetal position on the floor, like underneath a blankie.
Yeah. That was so weird. So, yeah, they're like, Dean's lost his mind. He's just snapped. And, of course, that's a perfect explanation. I mean, because he's foaming at the mouth. He's rah, rah, rah. It doesn't make any sense. So they're like, they take away the Dean. And, yeah, Dan Kane falls to the ground, just... and then Wes comes up, puts a blanket on him. He's like, "We're awesome. Don't worry. What we did was so cool."
I think he said, "It's just shock. It's all right."
Yeah, he calms him down. He's
Like, I just went from like pets to like, there.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
Oh, but he does this cool little flip around with his recorder because
He does,
He takes
yeah.
the
He
tape
pockets
recorder
it.
and
He's like,
pockets the tape recorder.
I got all the data, buddy.
Yeah,
we did this.
We did it. It's almost like a gunslinger.
Yeah, he did like a gunslinger.
Doing like
yeah.
a gun trick. He's
that was
spinning
good.
around. Yeah.
God, he's so smooth. I love that guy.
So we next see the Dean locked up in a padded room and wearing a straitjacket. And Dr. Hill's there, and he wants Megan to sign a release so that he can do exploratory surgery on the Dean. And she's like, well, if you think you'll help him, okay.
And this is weird. This is Dr. Hill's office.
Yeah,
I just wanted to talk about that.
That's my very next one. This guy has his own personal, like,
Padded
insane
room.
asylum cell in his office with a viewing window. How did that get built in this man's office?
This is so weird.
I mean, 1920 psychiatry, maybe.
Yeah.
But 1985, no.
Not to mention, this is jumping ahead a little bit, but not to mention, he has a mini fridge filled with blood packets.
Oh yes,
Yes!
that's right.
Why
I
are those in his office?
of his blood type, just in case.
He needs
guess.
some people need a cup of coffee in the morning. He needs some packed red blood cells.
It could be baby blood. We don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
This guy's a weirdo.
So, I'm just like, oh god, the pad off is so weird. So, speaking of weird, Dr. Hill gets real creepy here and pervy towards Megan. Oh yeah. And he's like, I know you're all alone now. And the old line, if you need anything, just call me. I'll be there for you.
Right in front of her crazy zombie dad.
He's in the window behind him.
In a straitjacket. Yeah,
Bouncing,
like,
smacking his head
That's
off
the
the wall.
worst time to maybe try and put the moves on.
Yeah.
Or the best time. At the most vulnerable.
When your crazy zombie dad's bashing his head against the glass right in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you also notice the two orderlies that look like the Fat Boys?
Yeah,
that's right.
There was like a skinny guy, and then one of them looked like it was right from the Fat Boys. And I immediately thought of Disorderlies.
Yeah, so these two orderlies go in and try to corral the Dean.
So he can do his...
So he can do his thing. But again, did you notice, like, when the Dean kind of flings the one orderly off, he hits the walls were so flames, like he hits the one, you see it.
Oh, did it wobble a little bit?
Wobble.
Yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, we cut to Kane, who is waiting for Megan at her house so he can explain to her what happened. She slaps him a few times and cries, and then she pretty much just forgives him for like murdering her father.
She basically says, "I just can't stay mad at you. Oh,
Yeah.
I can never be mad
I
at you.
can't quit you."
No, I think she said, "I want to hate you so bad,
but I
but
can't."
I can't."
Yeah.
And with that jawline, I hear you, sister.
But man, I wish I had that kind of clout with my wife.
Yeah.
You know, like, I can
Honey,
fuck up so
I kind
bad.
of killed your dad, but
Yeah, but you're not mad? All right.
All right, I love you.
Let's go. I'm gonna go out drinking with my buddies for the next 2 days.
Next few days.
So Wes is in the basement laboratory continuing his research when Dr. Hill just shows up. So apparently Hill has broken into their house and
Right.
snuck out into the basement. And he tells Wes that he knows the Dean is actually dead and he wants Wes to discover it for himself.
He wants in on the
And he basically tries to
reagent
blackmail
serum.
Wes
Yeah.
for the reagent serum. And so while Hill is looking through a microscope, Wes grabs the shovel and smacks him over the head with it. And then he stabs the head of the shovel into his neck a few times.
Great effect,
wiggles it
yeah.
around, and it basically just pops off Dr. Hill's head.
It's
Like,
great effect. You show him like there's different angles, and they
Yeah.
show it actually piercing his neck, and he's just
Yeah.
about to cut. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's again,
And,
a
like,
good effect.
I feel like you see a lot of shovel decapitations, but that's one of the few ones I've seen where he actually does a shoveling motion
Right.
to decapitate.
Yeah,
like he actually does like the stab
And he's like,
it,
put
like
weight
with
on
the
it. He,
leg.
like put his foot on it.
Yeah,
Like,
it was great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And the head pops off and bounces
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
So Wes then picks up the decapitated head of Dr. Hill and impales it on a small metal spike. It's kind of like one of those things you see like at restaurants where people stick.
Yeah, why does he have a
orders on.
receipt pin?
Yeah,
What's going
yeah,
on?
yeah.
Where are all those receipts
receipt
for?
pin, yeah,
What
yeah.
the hell?
And so he sticks on a receipt pin, so it's propped up, and then puts in like a metal tray that you see like a buffet line.
Yeah.
Like one of those metal.
Well, it's just a medical examining.
No,
tray.
yeah, it is. Yeah, that's the classic.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but I was like,
Metal
it,
tray,
again,
yeah.
it looks like the same thing you see at a buffet table.
It does. It does.
He then ejects the head.
He's sitting there for a minute. He goes,
Huh.
Yeah,
He
why
was-
not?
he goes, why not? Yeah.
He ejects the head with the green liquid, bringing the head to life. Now, I don't know if anybody else knows, but notice that the fake head is as a full head of thick black hair,
Beautiful
while
hair.
Dr. Hill is like silver gray hair.
Yeah.
They didn't
I
even
didn't
match up the
notice
hair on the
that.
fake head.
That could have been easily done, right?
Yeah,
like,
it could've
like a
been.
little spray paint.
Yeah.
I really didn't notice that much either. I think it was a silhouette. Was kind of throwing me off a little because there is a lamp on the desk. That's kind of so I
It's
didn't notice it
thick
as much.
black hair,
Yeah.
and it's like anyway. So then he decides to inject the headless body as well.
Yeah, so he injects he punctures the heart and injects
Yeah.
into the headless body. Yeah.
Yeah. So the body comes alive, now kind of like Headless Horseman style, and knocks out West from behind.
I do like this part though. When the head comes alive, he's looking at it. He's tapping on the head with a pen. He's just like waiting, like he's impatient. Like tap tap tap, and the eyes open up. He's like, "Ooh, hey, so how do you feel?" and the head just goes, "You." And he goes, "Good, good. You bastard." It's like, okay,
Yeah, all right.
That makes sense.
And how does he talk?
Exactly.
There's no lungs. Yeah.
I have
Well,
big
there's a-
issues with lungs later in this movie.
I just-
Lungs and circulate. There's
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
stuff
just-
going on later.
Yeah,
on.
but I saw that and just like
I don't think I was like, well, if his neck was maybe still has a vocal cord in there, but I don't
so
know.
I
He
kinda,
does talk all like airy and wispy like that.
yeah.
yeah,
So
And I just got mad at myself when I was watching
for getting
this.
mad at the.
I'm just like, that would never happen. I'm like, wait a minute, Aaron, stop. Quit being an asshole. Just have a ride. Just have some fun. Go for the ride.
So we cut to Kane and Megan now snooping around Dr. Hill's office. They're going through his files, and Kane finds a file dedicated to Megan, and it is stalkerific.
Yeah.
It is used napkins and
Yeah, and
hair
hair.
and like newspaper
Pictures,
clippings.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
super.
thank God. See, I something in my notes said full of napkins and hair. I'm like, what is that about? Now I get that. That was
Yeah.
the folder full of napkins.
It's all
and
Megan
hair.
stuff.
Right. It's all stuff about and with Megan. It's real creepy.
So that we're getting real creepy. Yeah, real creepy
Fingernail
side here.
clippings. Yeah.
And so the two of them go into the cell and notice that the dean has been given a lobotomy now with the laser pen or whatever
That they
the
were
fuck
showing
the thing is.
earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Laser drill.
Laser.
La-
Come
thank
on.
you, laser drill.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex. Alexi got it. All right. That's why we have him here,
That's why
guys.
he's here. So when West wakes up, Hill is gone and all of his work is gone. So the Hill's body is taking everything. Kane shows up and West tells him that he killed Hill and that Hill wanted Kane to disappear. He's like, I'm taking stuff and Kane's going to disappear because he's a witness. So that we jump to Hill's headless body carrying the head in the metal tray into his office, injects the head with more liquid. This is when he gets the blood packs from the
So-
fridge.
Yeah.
So this is almost a comedic scene.
Yeah, it
this
kind of is. I like
This
it.
is where it went downhill for me because in the point where I haven't seen this before, so I didn't realize it was. This goes in. It starts off kind of serious, like okay, this is serious 80s anyway, and then it goes in like to straight up like almost slapstick spoof territory.
Well,
and I kind of like
This moment. I don't think the rest of the movie still went slapstick, but it was weird. It's because he's walking in, he sets down the head, the body sets down the head, and the head's like using his eyes to kind of look at where the body's supposed to go, and the body's stumbling around, bumping into shit, knocking stuff over, and then the head just goes, ugh, like rolls his
Yeah.
eyes, like what a buffoon.
Exactly.
But it's his body.
Yeah.
You know?
So he gets the blood packets from the fridge and then squirts it
Yeah,
into the tray.
this is so weird. So he gets the blood packets from the fridge, squirts it in, and the head's going, ah, yeah.
Sweet blood.
That's the stuff. Oh, you could. It's like this. Oh, it's like he's taking a dump.
Yeah.
You know, like this huge dump that he's been holding in. He's just like, oh god, that's priceless.
I know what you're talking about, but I just put the note like, why the fuck does he have these in the fridge?
Yeah,
like it's
I don't
so
know.
weird. He has this. So the body then carries the head over to the window that looks on the dean's cell.
Yeah.
The dean and Hill had like an undead moment. They kind of look at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Hill tells the dean that he wants him to come out now.
Yeah, isn't it a one-way mirror? That confused the shit out of me.
because it makes it at first it looks like it is, and then it like fades away to a normal.
He
two-way.
even mentions to
Yeah,
Megan
it was
earlier
it
he
was a
can't see
one-way
you
mirror,
because it's a
right.
one-way mirror. Now you can with some of those things you can like light can shine
Yeah.
down and make it
But he
two-way.
wasn't flipping a switch.
right,
Yeah,
he wasn't.
because
holding
the
the head.
head was holding
Yeah.
two hands over the head, and the glass just faded away. Like it was.
It was a mystical moment.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And this is kind of where it goes to. He almost has a mind control over the other.
Right.
Well, over
That's
Dean,
a big
yeah.
point.
Yes.
Oh, that
Yeah.
comes. I
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
big point on that later. So we cut to Hill's body trying to sneak past the morgue security guard by
Incompetent.
wearing surgical scrubs, and in place of his head is a model medical bust of
Yeah,
a
it's
head
Yeah.
awesome. I love that.
that was on
head.
Hill's desk.
So
And-
good.
This is the stupidest, laziest, and worst security guard ever.
Well, he's reading.
He sits there
D-
smoking a cigar while reading Boudoir
Yeah.
magazine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Boudoir
Boudoir
magazine.
magazine.
Finest gentleman magazine.
That's a fancy gentleman's
Yeah.
magazine right
Boudoir.
there.
Boudoir.
That's just gonna show you classy boobs and cognac.
Yeah, so he's smoking a cigar, reading his nudie mag, and he's like, he gets totally duped by this headless guy with a fake head. And he's like, "Oh, time for a break," and just gets up and walks
Yeah,
away.
Is that you, Dr. Hill? All right, well.
Is that you, Dr. Hill? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay, I
And
know.
then as soon as Dr. Hill goes, he goes, "Time for my break."
Woo! So once inside, the body pulls Hill's head out of this medical bag that he's carried with him. And when the bag is opened, the head gasps for air.
Yes.
And it says, "That's better." And I'm like, why? It has no lungs anymore. What does it need air for? This makes no sense. And I was just like, I'm getting mad at this
Right.
now.
It was pretty weird.
Ah! So the body sets the head up in another metal buffet tray and then goes into the walk and starts pulling out bodies on gurneys. Now it cuts to Kane, who shows up in Megan's house. He's worried about her. And they have this heartfelt moment, like, "Oh, I love you, blah, 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 confess their love." And right after that, the dean breaks in through the front door and starts attacking Kane.
Yeah.
He smashes Kane's head up against the wall. There's
Oh,
blood everywhere.
yeah, he takes. I mean, I thought for a minute, shit, is he dead?
Yeah.
Because he grabs him and throws him against the wall, and when he throws him against the
Yeah,
wall, that
blood
head,
splatter.
like, there's a big blood splatter. I'm like,
Big blood-
shit.
yeah. You think he's dead, but he basically knocks Kane out. He grabs Megan and he walks off. Now, back at the morgue, the headless body opens the door and in comes Dean carrying an unconscious Megan.
You keep going, Dean Kane.
I do. Where's Dean? And, my
You
notes
just-
said
hard not
Dean and
to.
Kane. Dean and Kane.
Well, that's why I was calling him Dan.
That makes sense.
Because I probably would be doing the same thing.
So she's strapped to an exam table and stripped naked.
This
And you
is
see-
kind of hot.
Yeah, you know
a
what?
Wonderful 80s bush on
Yeah,
this.
that was tasteful and that was good.
Yeah.
That was nice.
So-
Wonderful 80s bush.
So, yeah, strips off her clothes, and they strap her down with, like, leather resistance, like leather restraints.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like this side you always see in,
I
like
think only one
convention.
arm though.
No,
'cause
they
the other
did-
one
they
is
did-
They
free.
did too, but
They
one
did
wasn't
both
full
arms.
Oh yeah.
And
And
Yeah.
the head, while it just had the head's like getting off on this. He's like, his
Yeah,
eyes
that
are all
was
big. He's all
ins-
creepy.
this
It's
scene is great.
it's
Yeah,
it's
so
fucked
weird.
up.
Very, very.
It's
creepy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So West then finds Kane somehow and wakes him up. He's like, how he knew he's I don't know how he finds him, but he does. And the two of them rush off to the hospital. Now Megan wakes up screaming. She manages to get one hand free of that leather restraint, swats at the body, which knocks the fake head off.
Knocks the bust off his
Bust out,
shoulders.
revealing the bloody neck
Stump. Yeah, and
So
she's
she screams
screaming.
some more, which I mean, of course, who
Sure.
wouldn't? And Hill is just laughing. He's like,
Yeah, he's loving it.
He's loving it. And now everybody get ready for some really creepy, rapey shit. That is
Yeah.
about
Yes.
to happen.
This is probably the most unique rape I think I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yep. By
And
far.
So the body
Is it necrophilia? Is it like reverse necrophilia? Is that a thing?
You're
It's a-
right. It's totally reverse necrophilia.
That is- yeah.
So
What
the,
is going on?
the body picks up Hill's head and lures it to Megan's face. He tells her that he's always been in love with her, and
I've always admired your beauty.
But I think I've always been in love with you.
Yes.
And he starts
And he
to lick,
talks like this.
and he starts licking her face.
Yeah.
Now the body who's holding the head moves the head down
To her
towards
boobs.
Megan's down her body.
He's licking her
kissing and licking her
boobs.
neck.
Yeah.
And he starts
Yeah.
like getting some serious like nipple lickage and
Yeah.
suckage going
and
on.
She's got one hand free, mind you.
Yeah.
And she's just kind of going,
Yeah.
She's barely slapping at it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a guy, it's a body holding a head, and you could just, if you took a hammer fist and just smacked it down,
Yeah.
you could probably knock the head loose.
So the head,
But
keeps
she's just,
moving the head down between her legs, and
Yes.
it's about to go
Yes.
full on cunnilingus on her.
Yeah.
When West walks in and interrupts it. And I'm like, talk about giving somebody head.
Oh!
Or receiving head, for that matter.
Actually, does he have that great line as he walks in too?
He says something.
Oh no, I have written down. He's like, I think he said, "I really respect you, but now I find you trysting with a bubble-headed co-ed."
Yes! Yes!
And I'm like, that is a line.
You're not
What
even a
line.
second-rate scientist.
Yeah, exactly. Trysting with a bubble-headed co-ed. I want to use that.
Well, now your office on Monday, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Are you still in a teaching capacity?
No. Well, I every once in a while, maybe like once a month.
Well, you got to try and use that line
Yeah, all
sometime.
right. Yeah, you
Beautiful.
bubble-headed co-ed.
so yeah, West throws some more insults at Hill while Kane sneaks in behind him and gets Megan off the table. And he's like, I underestimated you or something like that. And then Kane's like, oh, you should have. He says something, and then all of a sudden, the bodies in the morgue just spring to life.
Yeah,
and attack.
he basically says, I underestimated you. I didn't think you guys would get here. He's like, well, you shouldn't. He's like, but I have a plan.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
boom.
like 6 bodies just jump
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, how does he have mind control? Like over
And
other.
this is the problem I have.
Reanimated
Okay, so even if he did
bodies?
reanimate them, and we didn't see it, I
Yeah.
have no problem with that. But the ability to just be like, get him, boys!
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's
Rise!
Just, yeah, it's too much. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
They didn't explain anything
No.
there.
Now, keep in mind, just like the other one, all these bodies are naked.
Yes.
Everybody's
very, very
completely
naked. Mostly men.
Mostly
Mostly
men.
All except like 2 are
Yeah, I
men.
think
There's
2
two
haggardly
women,
women.
And
They're not attractive women.
They're women in their 50s, you know, who've
And-
eaten a lot of Cheetos.
So the following insane banana bonkers scene is filled with so much zombie dong flopping around, and the naked fat woman that Kane tried saving
Right.
at the beginning,
Right,
she's
back.
there. So her fat boobs are flopping around. It's just, it is a sight for the whole.
It is definitely
holy shit.
shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
And they're fighting. They're trying to get away. The zombies are kind of kicking their ass.
Oh yeah, easily.
You know, they're smacking the guys around. They're barely hanging on.
Yeah, and eventually several of the zombies grab Wes and hold him down against the table while Hill goes in like Bond villain mode and starts to explain to Wes that he has discovered a new technique in the bodies that allow him to have full control over the
that's
human
right.
will,
Yeah.
which this is essentially giving him the mind control.
Yes,
They-
the classic brain region for human will. Everybody knows that one.
Yeah, come on, guys. Durr.
So the corpses start giving Wes a lobotomy with the laser drill.
Yeah,
while
and-
Kane... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go on.
All right, well, Kane pleads with him to call off the zombie because they're about to kill Megan, and Hill just says, well, I'll give her life and bring her back. So
Yeah.
he's like, fuck you guys. Megan is about to be killed when she screams one last time at her father, and like
She's
snaps
pleading,
out of it.
please,
Yeah.
Dad, help. And he shakes it off,
Yeah.
and
So
you
now,
know.
yeah, so now the undead Dean suddenly has like a sense of who
Protect-
he was,
like he's
consciousness.
a little
It's
bit
the
of
power of the father's love.
right, like that protectiveness nature kicked in, and he's trying to protect his daughter.
Yeah. And he changes focus. He starts attacking Hill.
Who's running around in nothing but like a t-shirt, by the way. So her ass is hanging out quite a bit too.
Yeah.
Yes.
'Cause she's, so he's attacking the Hill's headless body. He throws the body through the door right as the security guard is coming back.
This is great.
Yeah.
I didn't
It's like,
this.
what? Nope.
He's got his magazine. He looks in there and just goes,
Yeah, that was it.
And
Not
just
for me.
Takes off running.
So the Dean then picks up Hill's head and he starts like headbutting it.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
great.
What?
The only way to nullify a headless or a biless reanimate head is to headbutt directly.
Yeah. I kind of like the move.
Yeah, I did
kinda
too.
like
That
the
was
move.
good.
I mean,
But at first,
Good
the
talk.
weird thing, the first time I watched this, the way it was shot, like I couldn't tell if the Dean was headbutting the head or if the head was headbutting the Dean. Like, that was the only move the head
Yeah.
had was a headbutt. I couldn't tell who was headbutting who. But, so he's headbutting it while the other reanimated bodies are going after Kane and Megan. So the Dean crushes Hill's head with his hands. He's just like
He's
just
driving his thumbs into the eyes.
Yeah.
He's just crushing
He's
like a
crushing
vice.
it, and he's just it's
Pretty
really
good effect.
gruesome.
and
Yeah,
it's
that was good.
shrinking and crushing it and popping.
Very gruesome.
And then he tosses it out to the hallway where it splatters against the wall right next to the security guard. And this time just turns and runs away.
He's just like, yeah, he's watching in there, and then once the head splatters against the wall, he's like, "Fuck this,
Yep.
I'm out."
And so Weston tries to, he's like, hey, you know what? I had a theory, right? And so he grabs 2 syringes filled with green liquid and he tries to overdose
And he's like,
the headless
"Overdose."
body
Yeah,
by injecting with the 2 syringes at once, which causes the other zombies to freak the fuck out.
they
when-
can't. They're just spazzing out,
Yeah.
smashing things. They're just they're not focused on
No.
Dan and Megan anymore. They're just running
They're
around
just
going
going
nuts.
So the headless body, his stomach starts to pulse and, it's like, and
Yeah.
bulge. And then large intestines come shooting out of it.
The large intestines I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
They're gigantic.
It was like the
They're
size
like-
of a fire
they're like
hose.
The tentacles from a Sarlacc pit that
Yeah,
grabbed Boba
yeah.
Fett's leg.
Very good.
And
Yeah.
it wraps around the Dean's face and his head and his mouth. And it continues to wrap around his body like a fucking anaconda.
West. It was wrapped
I
around
thought it was
West.
West, not Dean, yeah.
Did
Wrapped
I
around
say
West.
it's West.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
it is West. Now, at this point, one of the reanimated corpses knocks over some kind of chemical,
Of course.
which
Rando chemical.
starts to fill the room with fog or some kind of poisonous gas. You don't know. It's just filling up. The Dean manages to save Megan one more time from the zombies about to kill her, but at this time he gets swarmed by all the other reanimated corpses, and he just gets ripped apart limb by limb.
Yeah.
His arms fly
Yeah,
out,
that's
head
right.
out.
They just-
and
they
it's all like
tear 'em.
silhouetted.
Yeah, it
like,
was a really good shot, actually.
Yeah,
Very,
backlit,
very
so it's
artistic,
kinda
backlit.
cool.
It was a
yeah.
cool shot, but yeah,
Yeah.
he just gets torn apart.
Yeah. And so Kane and Megan make a break for it now as West tosses, in one last ditch effort, tosses his bag full of notes and the green.
And he just screams, "My research, my
Yeah.
research!"
My
to rearrange it. Yeah, save it. And
He
tosses it
doesn't.
at
He's
their
not
feet.
trying to preserve himself. He's
No.
not saying, "Save me, save me." He's like, "Save my research."
Like any good scientist.
He's committed.
He is
That's right.
committed.
He's committed. Is that what you do, Alexi?
Yes. Also,
That's-
can we talk about the zombie that's like a possible electrician that was like in the fuse box, just like fussing
Yes.
around?
He
Like,
keeps trying to
yeah.
hang like,
Like,
zombie is, like in a fuse box. ripping
like,
at
oh,
wires.
yep, this will definitely short things out. All right.
Who wants that cool effect that we're going to use a silhouette? I got it. I got it.
That's a good point. Yeah, they show that like several times.
Yeah.
I know, like, what?
So Kane grabs the bag. They run out of the morgue. They run for the elevator, but one more reanimated corpse grabs Kane. They fight. Kane ends up on the floor mounted by a naked zombie, but kills it by sticking his thumb into its eye, basically.
Well, the face was like
Half the face,
Half
like-
the face was damaged. He basically reached into the opening on the face and I guess took out
Oh,
But you
brains.
don't
or something.
see it because it's
Yeah,
the half
it's-
that's away from the camera.
Right.
You know, that one looked like, wasn't there like a Twilight Zone episode or an Outer Limits episode, like the weird duck face people? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
No, but
She had that kind of weird deformation, right?
yeah,
on the
because like
right-hand
half his
side.
face like hanging down, like flat.
Yeah,
Remember,
yeah,
do you
yeah.
remember one of the when they went through?
Was
one
a
of them
burn
was
victim.
a
Yeah.
one of them was a shotgun to the face.
Oh, that's
Oh.
right. That's what that was.
And it has to be that guy.
I'm
then.
thinking because there was a big
Yeah, no.
part of his face open.
Yeah.
Good
But
detail.
you don't see. It just looks like
management.
he's going to.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
if it's open, he reaches in and like mess with the brain, but you don't really see it. So anyway, they run for the. It just sucked at filming that scene. Like you're mounted and fighting with a naked guy on top of you.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty shitty. Yeah.
So the two of them make it to the elevator. The door's about to close, but once again they get attacked by.
Another zombie.
This is like the burn victim.
That's the
'cause,
burn
This
victim,
is
yeah.
the burn victim one. As the doors are closing, this zombie starts strangling Megan as Kane tries to fight it off.
and he is such a pussy.
He is a super
Terrible.
pussy.
Oh my god.
That's been an ongoing theme of this entire movie. He is a pussy.
He's got like a death throttle on her.
Yeah.
And he's just let go, cut it out, just like doing weird karate chops on his arms. Yeah, he's like karate chopping the arms. Like, what are you?
Kung fu motion.
This is your woman being. Don't you think like the adrenaline would kick in
Exactly.
and you'd find some way to get this mindless brute off of your lady? So he goes. Basically, he just goes, hold on, runs down the like
Entire hallway.
Down the hallway.
Let me rephrase this: slowly jogs down the hallway
He
breaks
gets
the glass.
fire axe.
Even when he breaks the
like,
glass,
"Ah,
he looks like a pussy.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, glass. I don't want to get a little cut, you know. Even though she's dying, I don't. Ooh, no.
Yeah.
Let me be gentle. Jogs back slowly and then hacks off the arms.
Yeah. And by this time,
she's dead.
she is Megan's
Yeah,
dead.
he actually twirls the axe. Like he kind of picks it up, twirls it. Like, oh yeah, this is a good axe. Like runs back down.
He's got to check the
Yeah.
weight of
Forgot
it.
about that.
Yeah, he's like,
Grabs it,
yep. Whoop. Yeah.
that was cool.
Yeah, I know exactly.
So Kane tries to give her CPR on the elevator. The elevator door is open, and Kane carries her down the hospital hallway, which is now full of like cops, nurses, doctors, other patients. That somehow nobody in his entire hospital knew about all the crazy shit that's happening like just below them, which blows my mind. And
Well, a morgue should usually be like in the basement.
They are,
right?
they
right,
are,
but
yeah.
it's just like there'd be security monitors. People would
Considering
come and
their
go.
security hiring practices,
Okay,
you know.
Yeah.
As soon as I said that, throw that
Yeah.
out the window. So Megan she's placed on a gurney, and they try to resuscitate her.
Just like the opening scene.
Just like the very opening
Yes.
scene. But they give up pretty fucking quickly.
Yeah, they do. Well, they
Kane
even said.
spent more time trying to resuscitate the fat woman than he did his own fiance.
Yeah, well,
he
did
gives
say,
up super quick.
They did say that she's gone. Her trachea is collapsed. It's fractured. She's gone. There's no way we can bring her back.
But I'm just
which-
saying, again,
Actually, you can. All you gotta do is actually just do a trach. Drop a dop. Forget it. You know. But
No, she's gone, Aaron.
people get their trachs crushed all the time.
She's
and survive.
dead.
All right. Oh, fine.
So-
She's dead.
yeah, he gives up super quick. Fiance's dead. He looks at
And
her.
the funny thing is, everyone leaves.
Yeah, like all right, we're out of here.
All right, let's out.
So it's
It's
just
break
Dan-
time, coffee break.
Yeah.
Coffee break.
Everyone loves their breaks in this hospital.
Yeah.
They have a great cafeteria. It's the best.
Apparently
They
They
must. They must.
And so Kane then goes down and into West's bag, and he pulls out a needle and the hard plastic bottle.
Take out the plastic.
Take out the
Yeah,
plastic
yeah.
of the green liquid, the reagent. And he tells Megan he loves her, and then he injects her with the liquid. We fade to black. We hear Megan scream. Roll credits.
Wait, does he actually inject? I thought that was open ended.
No, they didn't.
He did inject?
He injects.
Yeah.
Oh, that kind of ruins the open endedness of it for me.
What, you think she
I didn't think he did inject, and I guess I didn't realize the screen was her. That's a bummer.
Yep.
Sorry, buddy.
That's okay.
All right, so favorite kills. Moving right in.
There can be only one. Favorite kill.
Now, again, this movie is kind of weird. Not a whole lot of actual kills because it's more, I don't know how to explain, but favorite death scene, I guess we'll say. Favorite death scene.
Oh, yeah,
death
by shovel for sure.
So,
Alexi, go
well,
ahead.
there goes Alex. You go.
Yeah,
Yes, you go first. So.
Alexi, go for it. Yeah.
yeah, the shovel death scene is fantastic.
I'm going to have to second that because it is the most unique, the most brutal, and it also helps solidify West as he will do absolutely anything to preserve his serum.
Right.
You know, that also kind of corresponds with the very end when he's, getting wrapped up with the intestines. He's like, save my research. He doesn't care about himself. He cares more about the research than anything.
Right.
And you, Marshall?
I was wondering because there were a few good scenes. Like the bone stuff through the chest was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
true
was.
too.
The shovel was great, but then even though it wasn't because there's more the way it was shot, the backlit, but the Dean getting ripped
Yeah,
apart.
that's
later
good
on,
too.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, just because it's all backlit and silhouetted. I like the shovel, but I really like shovel. I think I'm going to go just because I like the look of it. I'm going to go with the Dean getting ripped
Yeah,
apart.
that's a good one too.
That's a good one. Yeah, yeah.
So,
but
I'm
kind of
going
like,
Dean.
yeah, but I like that. I still like that shovel one because it's just,
Oh, don't get me wrong. That's probably like
Sure.
I feel like
very
that's the
close
money
number
shot
two.
of the movie. Like that's probably the majority of their.
But I
first
think it's
budget
because
right
kind of
there.
what Alexi was saying earlier. It's just the fact that he's using his foot, like
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
shoveling his head off his body.
Yeah. Oh, I told you, it's great.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to time for the odds and the ends.
Not only did they watch these films, they researched them too. Ugh, what is wrong with these guys?
Now we also our odds and ends with our ratings. This is a cult class, so it shouldn't be a surprise. These got really high ratings, some of the highest we've had on this show.
Yeah, it was like 95 in Rotten Tomato.
Yeah.
IMDb 7.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes 94% on
Yeah.
the tomato meter with an 82% audience score. Now, just to put that in perspective, the new Star Wars, The Force Awakens, on the thermometer meter, not the audience, but 93%.
Whoa!
So this is clearly better than the new Star Wars
Yeah,
movie,
that's-
according to
yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I was playing. I still haven't seen.
Haven't seen it, so I believe it.
Still haven't seen Star Wars yet. I was planning on seeing it tonight
Fucking
or tomorrow
loser.
night.
Seen it twice. What's wrong with you?
Well, but now I don't have to because I've already seen Re-Animator.
Yeah,
and
so
it's
Renee's
better.
better.
movie.
You
Yeah.
don't need to see Star Wars
Yeah.
anymore. And Amazon actually breaking its trend. We found 4.4 out of 5 on
Ooh,
Amazon.
wow. So this is probably the highest rated movie we've done.
Yeah, if it's not, it's a close second.
It's way up
It's
there.
way up
Yeah.
there. Moving on, plot keywords. There were a ton. Nothing really surprising. Just a few fun ones. I want to because we live in the age of internet. And everybody, what's the most popular thing on the internet right now? Cat videos. So plot keyword was cat. Another one was this. Alex, science runs amok was a plot keyword.
That's good.
I kind of like that one.
Yep. Glow and exploding eye and cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
Okay.
Cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
Yeah. So
That's weird.
those are the plot keywords. Again, another very scientific.
What about a
medical-
reagent? He says that like 15 times.
Yeah.
It's probably on the list, but I didn't write them all. There's over 100
Or
words.
bubble-headed co-ed.
But wait,
Yeah.
go ahead.
You mean they didn't have headless corpse rape?
Reverse necrophilia.
right.
Head, giving head or head on head.
Head on head.
Yeah.
Head on head. So trivia, a lot of good facts I found on this movie, and some I will get into that of my own that research I did. So I did. The special effects department went through 25 gallons of fake blood during the movie shoot.
Now this is it's funny because it's bloody, but I think maybe a lot of that came from everyone was drooling blood.
Yeah, there's a lot of like FUs going on.
A lot of like just blood pouring out of the zombies'
Mouth
mouths,
blood.
like mouth blood out the ass.
Yeah, a lot of mouth blood.
Yeah.
Again, I already mentioned it's very, very loosely adapted from the H.P. Lovecraft story, which I have more notes on that at the end of this. Because this morning I sat down and read the story that
okay.
this is based off of.
Nice.
Just so I could
Sure.
prepare. So apparently Stuart Gordon and Dennis Paoli originally intended to be more faithful to the original story, but it really has nothing in common with the story and is more of a parody of Frankenstein. Really, Stuart Gordon wanted to shoot the movie in black and white on 16mm film to give it a gritty quality.
Ooh, that
which
would be kinda
kind
cool.
of interesting.
Yeah.
You imagine this in black and white.
But with all those effects, they'd just be wasted.
Yeah,
the
that's
blood
true.
effects would have been wasted.
Yeah.
Yep, totally agree. David Gale, who played Dr. Hill, was made to shave his head and wear a toupee, as this was found to be in keeping with Dr. Hill's character. In the DVD commentary, it was revealed that it was also necessary for budgetary reasons, as there is no money available to match Gale's hair on the prosthetic head prop, which is, again, like I said,
What?
black hair instead of silver hair,
Huh.
which is a weird wing not to have money on, but yeah, I don't know.
That thanks makes you think that they had a shitty budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was our budget?
Well,
come up with-
that's something we will come to later.
All right, sounds good.
Richard Band was the music person. He went over schedule by 2 days while composing the score in Rome. As a result, Band had to invest $1,500 of his own money in order to finish the score.
I think the score was pretty good.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
In the DVD comment, Jeffrey Combs, Hert West, expressed regret over the "who's going to believe a talking head get a job in a sideshow" quote.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was a good line.
Mentioning that the talking head part got such a laugh out of theater audiences that the sideshow part, his personal favorite, often went entirely unheard. So that's just a little tidbit. The brains in the severed head were made up of steer meat byproducts, ground beef, and fake blood. And when they shot the scene in the autopsy room with the severed head being thrown out the door by a security guard and smashed into the hallway, the crew were all behind the cameras with garbage bags over the clothes because they didn't know how much the brains would actually splatter.
Like it's like a Gallagher show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. This, according to Re-Animator Resurrectus, the 70-minute featurette on the limited edition box set, glow stick liquid was used as the glowing green reagent, and it is the first time glow stick liquid / glow sticks have ever been used on film.
Huh.
Huh.
Oh, yeah.
Get out.
There you
Really?
go. Yeah.
Well, what do you know,
Interesting.
What do you
guys?
know about that? Check your
Yeah.
darns. And here's where we talk about the opening credits at the beginning. The opening credit sequence pays visual homage to Saul Bass's work in Hitchcock's Vertigo, 1958,
yeah, okay.
while the opening theme music borrows heavily from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, opening theme by Bernard Herrmann.
Yeah.
That's
I could
it.
see that.
I was recognizing. I'm like, what is that from? What is it from? It's fucking Psycho. That's exactly
not
what
the
it is.
exact
I know,
music,
but
but
it's that's where the connection was because I
Yeah.
was sitting there going, it's inspired by something. I was listening to it. I'm like, it's definitely inspired by something. It's something I've heard before, very similar to it. Now when you said that, I'm kicking myself.
Yeah. So yeah, it's 2 Hitchcock movies. Now this is kind of rumor. It's not. I don't know if it's verified, but it's a weird thing to think of. But Dr. David Gale, Dr. Hill's wife, divorced him shortly after the film was released. In the audio commentary, most of the cast suspects that it's because of the scene where Dr. Hill attempts to rape Megan, which caused the divorce.
He was very into that scene.
Very believable. Very believable.
Yes.
So
It's like, baby, I'm a method
I'm an
actor.
actor.
I'm a method
Gotta
actor.
go method.
Okay.
this one, it might be my favorite tidbit I've ever read because I found this hilarious. The woman Dan is attempting to resuscitate at the beginning of the movie, the fat woman,
Yeah.
was a dildo enthusiast.
Wow.
Who was known to hide dildos with the fake corpses throughout the morgue set.
What? The hell?
A dildo enthusiast.
I love
Like,
that.
she doesn't like using dildos. She's a collector? Like, that's bizarre.
This one I got when I was in Jacksonville,
Yeah,
Florida.
exactly.
This one I got when I was in Boise.
When I was in college, I had a theater professor who was the set designer for all the plays, and his trademark was he would always hide like little cows throughout all the set. There's me thinking, it's like the same thing instead of cows, it's fucking dildos.
Bunch of rubber cocks.
Bunch of rubber cocks all over the morgue. We already talked
weird.
about how the walls in the cell were flimsy, so I'm
Yeah.
skipping over that. Okay, now this is, again, we talk about the mind control. There was originally a subplot that revealed Dr. Hill had the ability to control minds.
Huh.
It was cut for the film from timing reasons, but evidence of it can still be seen in the story because he talks about the lobotomy thing. And he is seen performing this skill on both Megan and Herbert, and is the reason he's able to control all the zombies in the film's climax.
Well, there was that scene in the basement when he confronts Kane, remember? Where he's like, you will give me your research. Like, there was this kind of weird Yoda moment.
It was West. Yeah.
That
when
was
he
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
West.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. He
Yeah,
did
and that was
kind of-
done like, I'm like, what?
He's very
Yeah.
intense and staring
Yeah,
at
no,
him very
it was
intensely.
definitely...
Yeah. That's what that was.
Because he gave him the notes, remember?
Yes, he did. Yeah. But then he
So-
brained him.
But then he brained him,
Yeah.
so it's a work in progress.
Yeah. He hasn't quite perfected that
Yeah,
yet.
exactly.
All right. So moving on, let's see. We skipped it. All right, this is kind of neat. Tom Towles, whatever, was originally set to play the first Re-Animator, of course, was the big buff guy.
Yeah.
But that ended up going to Peter Kent, who got the part. Now, just for neat call together, Towles was in the Night of the Living Dead remake, where he played Harry Cooper, the asshole. in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
He was also in the several Rob Zombie movies. He was in the Halloween remake, and he was in House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects, where he played George Wydell in those 2 movies. Now, Peter Kent, who did get the part, was Arnold Schwarzenegger's stunt double on 14 films.
Well-
Wow!
Ranging from Terminator to Jingle All the Way.
Dang. He was really, really buff, though.
Yeah.
Remember I saw, like,
really
that
good
is big
shape.
guy,
Yeah.
Yeah. he
So-
was-
That's kind of awesome.
He was
Yeah.
a Terminator stunt double
Awesome.
in this movie.
Dang. That's awesome.
An actual dead cat was supposed to use for Rufus in the fridge, which that's disgusting.
That's messed up.
That is very messed up. That's really fucked up.
that effect looked good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one looked like really realistic. Like, they did a good job. Oh, it's a real dead cat.
Yeah,
That makes
real dead cat,
sense.
that's
Why didn't they just keep using it then? Instead of using that stupid stuffed animal thing. I don't know. I
So,
guess you get in trouble if you just
yeah,
mutilate
probably.
it. Yeah.
Especially the fact that I think at the end of the credits says no animals were harmed or killed in this movie.
Yeah, they did.
We just found a dead one. We didn't kill it,
Yeah.
but we already found a dead one.
It was already dead.
Now, already did ones, yes.
Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, Robert Sampson, and director Stuart Gordon visited an insane asylum and morgue as prep for the film. We already covered Hans Gruber. And all right, just for I would be amiss if I didn't cover about this, but since like I said, I did read the actual story, and I wrote down notes on how it's the same, but how it's also vastly different. And so, what makes it the same is yes, there is Herbert West. They do go to Miss Catonic Med School in Arkham. They don't say Massachusetts, but it's Massachusetts. The Dr. Housley is in the strip as the dean. He does die and is brought back, but totally different way. And there is a headless body that creates an army of reanimated bodies. But again, not the same. The differences are that Housley dies of natural causes and then is brought back after being like a hero for saving so many people during like this plague outbreak. And then as he gets brought, he goes on this massive killing spree as an undead zombie. He's captured and locked away in an asylum for 16 years. So that's kind of something because you see him locked up in a
yeah.
But he manages to escape somehow later in the story. Hill doesn't even show up till later. Till the section of World War I. And then it's not even Dr. Hill. He plays a pilot by the name of Lieutenant Ronald Hill who dies in a plane crash. And the headless body is not of Hill's, but of Major Sir Eric Moreland Kaplan Lee, who is a major in the military who died in the same plane crash.
Okay.
Who was the doctor that worked with West and Kane, who both joined the Canadian Army in the storyline.
So you have a separate head and a separate body.
No, just
just a
different person.
Gotcha.
Hill has nothing to do.
Gotcha.
Is barely even noticed in the story. The first reanimated corpse, the Pete Kent one, it does get loose in the first and goes missing. He just gets away. They don't know what happens to him. In the movie, West is blonde haired and blue eyes, not brown hair and brown eyes. And West is killed and ripped to pieces at the end instead of Dean Housley's character in the movie. So the timeline is basically it's med school, the plague, which and then where we meet Housley. Then it goes to this town of Bolton where they do a bunch more shit. World War I, Canadian Army, and then they end up outside of Boston. So there's so much shit not covered in this movie.
There's a lot happening.
Does he actually go to the mechanism of the a reanimation? Is there more to it in the story?
They do a lot more scientific stuff about it, but not a whole lot.
Okay.
But,
I mean, Lovecraft was a little more detailed.
Actually, I found it really entertaining. It's only 25 pages long.
Yeah,
I read
it's
an
a
hour and
short
half this
story
morning.
anthology, right? Yeah.
So it's really good. It's worth reading. It was very entertaining. But yeah, the headless one in the book is the Major General, not Dr. Hill, who comes back, and then he somehow communicates with the other because he brings back. That's how Dean Housley's corpse escapes from the prison because he has this army of dead that kills all the orderlies in the prison, busts out the dead Housley, and then they go and kill Dr. West at the end.
Jeez.
And so it's a pretty awesome. It's a pretty good.
It's a good read, huh?
It's a good read.
All
I
right.
recommend it. All right, so that out of the way, now we go to the favorite part of the show. We go to the budget game.
It's now time to play everyone's favorite game, Guess the Budget.
All right, we got 2 players today.
All right.
Oh, this is fun.
2 players. We get to guess the budget. Alex is our guest. You go first.
Holy crap.
So what would you guess is the budget for this movie?
Can I get like a median budget for a 1980s horror film?
No.
I need parameters. God, I'm totally blind.
We've never done that before. It's just
No, I've never
take
done
a
it
guess.
before.
No parameters, just take a guess.
So this includes actor salaries too.
Correct.
It's everything. The
Everything,
whole budget.
everything,
for
everything.
A movie released in 1985.
1985 budget. All right, I'm gonna go 100K.
100K from Alex. Aaron.
Okay, so the fact they couldn't pay for you already told me that they were paying a little bit out of pocket for the score, and that they couldn't afford like wigs and shaving heads. So it sounds like they had some budgetary restraints. Pretty much all the actors and actresses are unknown at the time, so there's not huge salaries there. And because it's tight, I'm gonna go 500K. 500,000.
500K and 100K. Well, today we do have a winner, but you both fucking sucked awfully.
Thanks, buddy. I love how you always are like, since you know, you're always like, you suck. I would have turned the tables on you sometime, buddy.
You're right. You're totally right. I wish I had box office numbers for how much I couldn't find that.
Yeah.
The budget $900,000.
What?
Oh, wow.
Okay, the first Hellraiser was like 500,000, and that had amazing effects and had some like known actors. So that surprises
winning the
hell out of
budget
me.
game, Aaron gets the shot of Green's
Oh.
reagent shot, which is really just apple.
I just want to say this is completely an unfair matchup. All right, this is bogus.
Someone's a sore loser.
Yeah, I
am. Would you like some of this apple?
Yes.
We got to get a shot of this. Hold on. I'm going to get this back to you for the meantime. But all right.
Yeah, so that's it. Moving on to
Oh yeah, that's cool.
they're playing with the shot right now. Check it out. Moving on to 5-star reviews.
These special movies have a place in these special people's hearts. 5-star reviews.
All right, so as this is a cult classic, there were 26 pages of 5-star reviews for this movie.
26 pages?
26 pages of
of 5-star
crap.
reviews.
Yeah. Some of them were kind of funny, I will admit. And so the first one, I broke down only half of it because it's so long. But even this half is, it blows me away. Just be patient. All right, this is halfway through this person's review from John Lindsay. Also recommended Evil Dead 1 and 2, Day of the Dead, Frankenstein, 1931. Cannibal Holocaust, City of the Living Dead, a.k.a. Gates of Hell, Zombie, Demons, Blood Diner, Toxic Avenger, Basket Case, which is fucking awful, Dead Alive, From Dusk Till Dawn, The Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses, House by the Cemetery, Maniac, 1980, Cannibal Ferox, Wrong Turn, Final Destination 2, 28 Days Later, Land of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead 3, Caligula, Dead and Breakfast, Rabid Grannies, Romeo and Juliet, Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, Resident Evil Apocalypse, The New York Ripper, Itchy the Killer, Men Behind the Sun, Ricky O, The Story of Ricky, Undead, Shaun of the Dead, The Brain That Wouldn't Die, Scanners, Videodrome, The Fly, 1986, The Brood, Steel and Lace, American Werewolf in London, Deranged, Bride of Beyond Reanimator, Tenebrae, Inferno, The Lost Boys, The Forsaken, High Tension,
Jesus
Fright Night,
Christ.
Bio Zombie, Saw, Burial Ground, Dead Heat, 1988, Terra Firma, The Stuff, Cabin Fever, The Thing, 1982, It's Alive, Cemetery Man, Tetsuo, The Iron Man, Candyman,
nice.
Cannibal Apocalypse, Inferno, Phenomena, Suspiria, Blood Diner, which he's listed twice now, Gore Girls, The Driller Killer, Jeepers Creepers, and The Beyond. 5 stars.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So basically, he recommends every fucking movie he's ever seen, apparently.
I think this guy was in a manic state when he was writing
Yeah.
this.
Fuck you, John Lindsay. I'm sorry. That's uncalled for.
Were they all in caps?
No.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised it's that detailed.
Yeah, so...
Or, I mean, he's got quotations around each one.
Yeah, so he at least did that properly. Kids review, which those are always fun. This movie is great. I first saw it on the Sci-Fi Channel, and after that, I was hooked. A week after I saw it on TV, I wound up buying it and found there was a lot more scenes that they edited out due to TV ratings, which made the movie even more better. I haven't seen Bride of Re-Animator yet, but I hope to see it soon. I saw Beyond Re-Animator on TV with the first Re-Animator, and it was really good sequel. I even hear, totally miss H-E-R-E instead of there, again, wrong there, going to make a 4th Re-Animator called House of Re-Animator, which would take place in the White House. I would recommend this movie to any horror comedy fan, and would just like to say this movie is awesome. 6 exclamation marks, 5 stars.
I wonder how old that kid is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just the fact that I saw it on TV and loved it, but yeah, there's a lot of shit. And a kid, just think of like I don't know how old this kid is, but like
I just
an
see
8,
like,
10-year-old kid watch all this dong flap around like what?
and like, you know, headless rapey stuff.
And then like
yeah.
of course the boobs and Bush
Right.
kid's like, it's awesome, but I don't
Kid I want to hang out with.
Yeah.
All right.
Woodburn. So I got it for my teen children so it could be exposed to one of the finest 80s horror films. It did not disappoint, still holds up well in these days of CGI. Just again, grinding this for kids is like, yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
bad
fucked up.
parenting, man.
That's bad.
16 years old, though, I'd let it pass, you know.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it doesn't say it's just teens. I'm like, that's
Sure.
still, fuck, you know. Anyway, from
This is coming from Marshall, who's probably seen every single disgusting movie that was around at his time when he was like 13.
Yeah, but,
Look how he turned out.
yeah.
Don't do it, kids.
Yeah, don't
Don't
turn
watch
out
it,
like
kids.
me. The Shape. I remember watching this a long time ago, and it scared the crap out of me. I haven't seen it since, but I would like to see it again. The only thing that has been stopping me is people keep saying it is funny. I mean, are there funny parts to it, or is the whole thing just a dumb spoof? I really don't remember, and I don't want to fork out a hefty price for a dumb, unscary horror movie. What I remember of it, it was really damn scary. It had me hiding behind the couch with my eyes behind my hands. But that was years ago. So What is this movie more similar to? Night of the Living Dead, scary as hell, or Return of the Living Dead, a dumb, unscary spoof? Thanks. 5 stars.
Weird.
What?
Yeah.
That's
Is that a
like
review or just some runnings of a person that I can't respond to that.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
is insane.
All right, the last 3 are really short. Stephen Brown, the movie inspired me to go to medical school. 5 stars.
Ah! What? I hope that's real, but also really terrifying.
Oh.
Did he make it?
Yeah, Steve, are you here? Let us know. Did you make it to
If you're
medical school?
listening, let us know.
Best medical drama since, I don't know, ER.
From customer, recommended to all guys who have pretty girls. ... 5 stars.
Wait, what?
What?
Who have pretty girls or like pretty girls?
Recommend to all guys who have pretty girls. 5 stars.
Interesting.
Weird one.
Like in their basement,
Yeah.
or their girlfriend,
Lock
or,
in your basement.
Or shackled to an examining table.
Yeah.
And finally, Cynthia Cousins Jacobs. You haven't lived until you see this film. It will give new meaning to your life. 5 stars.
Dang.
Hey, you haven't lived. You'll be brought back again. Who
Heyo.
knows? You'll be reanimated with life.
Oh God. So all right, final recommendation. So bad it's good. So bad it's scary. Alex, what's your closing remarks?
I think it lives up to the cult classic kind of parameters. You know, I'm not really a fan of this type of genre, or this type of horror movie actually, but I think it's worth a watch. Good effects for the budget, obviously. Pretty good nudity, a lot of dong.
If you like Dong, you'll like this movie.
Love this movie.
You heard it here, folks. Alexi recommends it for the dong.
No, yeah, I think it's worth a watch. It was entertaining for sure.
All right, Aaron.
So bad it's good.
So bad it's good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And it's not a big surprise because it is a cult classic. It was fun, I think, and like we talked about it several times. West commanded the screen whenever he was fun to watch. He was engaging. Anytime he spoke, you listened and paid attention. It was a good dynamic to have such a strong personality with Dan Kane being the pussy.
The bitch. That's
yeah.
I'm straight up saying he's a fucking bitch in
Well,
this movie.
It was a good relationship they had. So
Yeah.
overall, check it out. So bad it's good.
All right. For me, part of me wanted to lean towards not because I wasn't expecting to be having so many like almost comedic spoof like elements to it. But then after I read the story, which is like again so much better than the movie, but based on just the movie, I would say So Bad It's Good, worth the watch. For the same reason everybody said. I'm not gonna go into it, but same reason. Jeffrey Combs is awesome. It's fun. And some really cool, gory death scenes.
All right.
So there we go. Clean sweep, 3 for 3. So bad it's good. Give it a watch. Remember, follow us on Facebook, our website, horriblehorrorpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at So Bad It's Scary. You can download us and listen to us on Podbean at horriblehorrorpodbean.com. And you can download us, subscribe us, check us out on the massive iTunes. All this 100% free to you. So check us out, follow us, let us know, interact with us. And I want to say thanks to Aleksey for
Thank you.
joining us today.
Alexi, anything you want to plug?
Yeah,
or
anything
talk
you want
about?
to
Anything?
shout out before we leave?
Nope.
All right.
Sorry.
All right, there we go. That'll be it. We'll be back later. Take it easy, Moon Goons.
All right, bye-bye.